Okay, we're going to look at something that has been a closely guarded secret for decades, probably. But it's out there now, and so I'm certainly not going to be the first one to reveal this card handling technique here. So it's called a breather crimp. So you have to just choose any of the 52 cards to have as your breather crimp. I think it's good to use one that's non-obtrusive. I don't think you should use like the ace of spades or hearts or something special. You just choose a kind of lonely card here. So there you go, 2 of hearts. And now what you're going to do is you're going to hold your thumbs right in the center there, but on the back side, let me just show you, you're going to have your 2 fingers. Now my thumb is positioned to apply pressure essentially right between where those fingers touch, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to crease it. And in fact, I even turn my finger and my thumb kind of upwards so that I'm essentially using the tips of my fingers and thumb. If you have long fingernails, you have to be careful. I don't. You may just scratch the card. But so what you do is you hold it and then you just pull it to this corner, bottom left corner. And so all you're doing is you're just putting a little crease in it. Okay, so now I'm going to do this other corner, and I just moved to the corner. Now, depending on how pronounced you want this to be, you can really push down hard and make it, really stand out. And you could go over it more than once too. I think I did it hard enough that I don't think I need to go over it. So let me catch the light. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that kind of X. You see the X there? Okay, might be easier on the back. No, not really. Okay. Now one way that you'll know that you succeeded is if the card spins. Okay, when it's face down. Okay, so if it spins freely, then that's a sign that you've put in a pretty decent breather crimp. Well, what are these for? Well, what they end up doing is if you so let's say popular card here, ace of diamonds, that's a kind of a nice one. Okay. So if this card is placed, so let's go ahead and just place the ace of diamonds right there, and then your breather crimp on top. Okay. Now what it's going to enable you to do, and actually I may want to, it may have been good to maybe shuffle this a little bit because my breather crimp is pretty pronounced, and you might be able to tell kind of what's going on there. But so once it begins to settle down, it essentially the evidence of it disappears on the side here. But what it's going to enable you to do is essentially cut to the card that you want to cut to. So maybe the ace of diamonds. Okay. And so now, you can actually perform cuts, just ordinary cuts, kind of mix the cards and so forth. Okay, so as long as you don't change the relative order of the cards, you can do, overhand shuffle in which you leave, you do it in chunks, that kind of thing. So essentially these are just cuts, right? These are just cuts. Okay. Okay, so this can be mixed to a fair degree, but it is helpful to know essentially approximately where the breather crimp is, because then you'll know kind of how far down to begin to try to feel where it might be. Okay, so when you see card magicians cutting to certain cards, like cutting to the 4 aces, they may be using a breather crimp to do that. Okay, but you can always see that you've succeeded by just looking at your breather crimp card. Okay, so a very clever idea. It's a nice one to be aware of because within a mathematical card magic routine, you may want to always know where a certain card is, right? And so this could be helpful for that. Okay. So it can be freely cut, or anything that's equivalent to a cut. And so in our case, sorry about that. If you use the Charlier shuffle, okay, that's one that we've talked about. I have a separate video on the Charlier shuffle, top to bottom, bottom to top, top to bottom, bottom to top, top to bottom. Believe it or not, that's actually equivalent to a cutting of the cards. Okay, so there's our breather crimp with our ace of diamonds. So that's a good one to use if you're trying to take advantage of the power that a breather crimp gives you. A Charlier shuffle is actually equivalent to an ordinary cutting of the cards. Now here you can see that I'm going to be pretty close to the top, right? If I have some idea, then I can cut to it just fine, right? Whereas if it's way down there at the bottom, it's good to kind of know that too, because when you cut, you know that you're going to kind of find it near the bottom, right? It's going to be, that's really close to the bottom, by the way. Normally you can't cut that close successfully. So maybe that was a little bit of luck there. But so anyway, that's a breather crimp. A very powerful little clever device that will allow you to cut to any card, be able to kind of find any card that you like. There it is, you know. Okay, so anyway, so there's two kinds of breather crimps. I've shown you one, and the other one, as you might imagine, is where the crease is put in the other direction, and that serves a similar purpose. You may want to play with that and see actually what does that do? What does that allow you to do when you put the crimp on the other side of the card? So maybe make that as an exploration for yourself, just to see what happens. Okay, well anyway, that's a breather crimp. Wonderful, wonderful little thing. I don't know if it's even known who thought of it, who came up with it in the first time. Okay, and then as I mentioned, if I'm not so worried, let's say right now, I don't, at the moment, I don't really care about the ace of diamonds anymore. I just want my breather crimp. If you want the sorry about that. These are new cards, which I've kind of destroyed with a breather crimp. Not really destroyed, but if you feel like it's a little too pronounced, you can perform a few little, shuffles, especially a bridge shuffle, and then it will kind of settle down how readily you can see it on the side, right? And if you don't overly do that, you should still be able to, we won't know it's there anymore, right? It's a two of clubs. Okay, well, let's just mix this up again. Charlier. See if we can get two of clubs again. Well, let's see. I think we will. So there it is. So anyway, that's a breather crimp. So play with that, and it can play a very important role in any card magic and in mathematical card magic as well. So thank you for watching.